we impose extra burden on the masses. I feel your pain.
Only humility will lead us to unity, and unity will lead us to peace.
Go to the market and sell your products.
Hello, viewer. This is Press Center on Dott Television. I am Godfrey Obaka, and on this edition of Press Center, we bring your way an iconic journalist and a seasoned broadcaster in the person of Chukwudi Okolie Obaja as we look into his journey through journalism.
Thank you, Godfrey. It's just that when you reeled out the string of accolades, I started thinking whether you were still talking about me, you know. Anyway, we're here. So, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
That's
and
great.
I must say it's a delight to have you in the studio because I remember that several years ago, I was watching you on what we call Minaj Station then.
MBI.
Yes.
Yes.
And,
You saw Open Access?
Oh, yes.
As well as a political platform.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know, so today being in the same studio with you, to me, is historic.
Oh, well.
Is it possible you take us through your journey through journalism? How many newsrooms across the world, particularly in Nigeria, have you journeyed through?
I've not been in any newsroom outside of this country.
Okay.
I have done all my journalism, practiced all my journalism in this country. So the question of surgeoning out of Nigeria does not arise at all. But to answer your question, they call me the Rolling Stone. The Rolling Stone in the sense that at the last count, I was in the 8th newsroom. You know, I was one of those idealistic journalists who would say, oh, this is where journalism would be more easily practicable than in these other stations. But in real life, it's not really that way. Part of the reason I tended to have roved from newsroom to newsroom was that you get out to a point where you're owed salaries and you know that you're no longer in a position to continue. And but to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, when I was in one of those stations, when I was in Lagos, that's the first station I worked in when I left Delta Broadcasting Service for Lagos.
Yeah.
When I was about to leave it, I was owed 8 months' salaries. And I couldn't get that till after 2 years, till after 2 years when I left them.
Perhaps in some installments?
No, when that man was eventually ready to pay me, he paid me everything in full.
Okay.
But then I got to another one where the story was not even anything better than the first one. There I was owed another 8.5 months' salaries. That was the one that was paid to me in 18 installments over a 3-year period. So part of the reason the roving happened was that at a point you just knew that you could no longer afford transport fare to go and do what is your heart's desire, what is your first love, journalism. So that explains the roving. But to address more directly the question you asked, by journey through journalism, those of us who really treat journalism with a passion got in there because we saw one mentor somewhere whom we wanted to be like. It mattered to me in those days. Anytime at 1 o'clock on Radio Nigeria, I heard Kevin Amechi tell us, here is the world news read by Kevin Amechi. I wanted to be like him.
Okay.
Then the likes of Ron Mbatogo, the likes of Christopher Kolade, who, though not really an active broadcaster, his English was even better than the English of those who were broadcasting. Then in primary 6, I would go to watch NTA News at 9. And as I came back from the farm without taking a bath in my pants, I would stay by the window, watch black and white television, reveal John O'Dwyer of blessed memory to me. I learned Ecuador from that woman. I used to pronounce it as Ecuador. I learned Ecuador from her. Then I saw the likes of Bimbo Roberts then, who later became a Bimbo Loyede, you know, Mike Nahoro, every one of them, Maria Sugada, they were the people who inspired me into broadcasting. I knew quite early in life what I wanted to be, either a broadcaster or somebody who worked in foreign affairs. I settled for broadcasting. And in spite of all the ups and downs I witnessed in the trade, I'm not going to tell you for 1 minute that I regret being a broadcaster. Here I am to Ajashin School or high school. I left straight to Bendel Broadcasting Service because I knew what I wanted. I stayed a long time before I was employed. Bankole Balogu told me, look, you're somebody I would have liked to take almost immediately, but we are not employing yet. I said, don't worry, I'll wait. That's why when I see young people so impatient about the things they want to do in life, I say that's not how to go. If you really want something, you're ready to stay, wait for it to happen for you. From Bankole Balogu, Esther Oduehi came to act as sole administrator of Bendel Broadcasting Service then. And it was who eventually got me in. Bankole Balogu was then working under her as general manager. The two of them, I must say, were the people who eventually made it happen for me. So I got into broadcasting. I was on a salary as a graduate of 250 naira a month. Imagine, graduates are getting about 150 now, 200. I was employed as a graduate on a salary of 250 naira. But even then, 150 naira apartment, money had value then, you know. So there it started. From there, the state creation happened, and Bendel became Edo and Delta.
Yeah.
And they renamed the station to Edo Delta Broadcasting Service.
Okay.
When eventually assets were shared, we from Delta had to leave Benin City.
Okay.
You know, that time they said you didn't have to do, but I want to say that I was rather impatient. Somebody who was GM then was not acting exactly the way I thought he should act towards me. And I left practically in annoyance for Lagos, where I went to DBN at 65 Awolowo Road and became the head of news of Degwe Broadcasting Network, DBN.
Okay.
I want to thank a man called Felix Akua. He took me there. He told a man called Osasoni Adu, I'm going to bring you somebody who has a passion for broadcasting. And I got there and met them. I was still feeling rusty from the hinterland. You know, I remember when they asked me to appear before a panel, Dele Babatunde of blessed memory, after listening to me, said, this is broadcasting material. We're going to have him. Okay. He's going to be great. It's just that the way I see him, we could do well to get him a few nice shirts. You know, that was not complimentary.
Oh,
but I was overjoyed.
The need for some form of
But
packaging.
I was overjoyed that they thought I could broadcast effectively,
Yeah.
which was what mattered. So when eventually I started work there, I met two NTA broadcasters who left a huge impact on me. Tokumbo Ajay of blessed memory. She I learned eligible. I used to pronounce that word as eligible. Tokumbo Ajay taught me eligible voters, stress on first syllable. Then I had the privilege of flying to Abuja to represent DBN. I think it was a Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria meeting. And there's Sene Orwell Brown, who later became Sene Razak Lawal. She saw me, and she tended to like what was coming from the young man. But she warned me there. Said, I don't like the way you kowtow to politicians. You don't kowtow to politicians. Stand tall as a professional. You know CNN now, the unflappable CNN Orwell Brown.
Yeah.
So yeah. I had the privilege of listening to the best in the industry. I tracked them. And it launched me into a field of passion.
Yeah, but something has happened to
What?
broadcasting
Yes.
in the past couple of months
What?
with the National Broadcast Commission coming up with a directive warning broadcasters and broadcast institutions not to bully, intimidate.
No one can bully me anymore.
I've not invited
Because
you here to bully you.
I have sat where you are now
Yes.
to interview Gani Fawahimi 3 times. And it was almost a fight in each of
great.
those cases. You remember Gani Fawahimi?
Yeah, he was a warrior.
In one of the outings, when he found out I was one of those who accompanied Jerry Garner on what we call the media tour,
to
by
sites
which PDP intended to showcase the
projects
their achievements.
In,
When Gani Fawahimi found out that I was one of those who went on that tour under the Minister of Information and Culture, Jerry Garner, you know what he said? You mean you were one of those who looted the National Treasury? I didn't know what to say the next 1 minute. Then I quickly came out. I said, you talk the way you talk because you have not been in government.
Okay.
It's an entirely different kettle of fish when you get in government. So, his friend Onaguru, whom he didn't want to serve under Abacha.
Olu
That's it.
Olu
Gani now. Remember the Babangida times?
Yeah.
When there was a time he jumped on top of was it a Volkswagen or a Peugeot car to make his point?
Yeah.
It was the cynosure of all eyes, and Gani was our champion.
Exactly.
So anytime you had the privilege of having him in the studio, it was indeed a great privilege. And so the thing started. As I said earlier, I am the Rolling Stone in the sense that I moved from station to station, looking for the ideal place to be the kind of journalist I wanted to be.
So as a veteran broadcaster,
Yes.
how do you consider the directive of the NBC?
Okay,
how do you consider
okay,
that?
fine.
Because some persons believe that it's some form of censorship. What scenario could have led to bringing up such a directive about bullying of guests?
No. I show some understanding to NBC. I'll explain.
Why?
No, I will explain. The first thing is to assert that nobody should be allowed to intimidate us or to bully us when we do our job. That's talking against the NBC directive now. But you see, what has happened, freedom of expression is there.
Yeah.
NBC is not going to take it away from us. It's constitutional. We are the 40th state of the realm.
Yeah.
We're not claiming it. We are the only ones that are constitutionally recognized almost at the level of the judiciary, the presidency, and the legislature.
Yeah.
After that, they talk about the 40th state
But
of the realm.
Going by that directive,
Yes.
I am not expected on this platform to own an opinion.
Yes. No. Let's take it one by one.
Okay.
We should not, for one moment, try to take from us, wrestle from us, our right to self-expression.
Okay.
Very important. Freedom of expression.
Okay.
Is that 39 or 38 somewhere? Anyway.
It's part of the First Amendment, even to the American Constitution.
Yeah, there's yes.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, I now need to go to where the NBC has to be careful.
Okay.
They have to be careful in the sense that some people could be intimidated, not the likes of us anyway, could be intimidated into not being themselves anymore as broadcasters.
That's true.
They become a shadow of themselves. But having said that,
Maybe
NBC
for fear
is
of losing their
contending.
license.
NBC is contending, and this is in their favor. NBC is contending with a situation where people who have not been trained properly to broadcast are now doing things that require commentary from NBC. That is what is happening. How could you, for instance, you're a presenter, you go to the studio and on one of your outings, you tell a guest, I put it to you that we don't say that. Even the adversarial interview, the sort of interview you see from Stephen Sarker of BBC on Hard Talk.
Hard Talk.
I think the roughest so far has been his encounter with a former president, Olusegun Obasanjo. Even then, he did not lose courtesy for his guest. There's a way we do this job. You are a host to whoever you have invited to the studio.
That's true.
Whatever he says, you are supposed to stay polite to him till the last minute. Until the last minute. You have no other option. What has happened is that people with a newspaper background, people who are opinion writers, who were opinion writers, editorialists, have come into broadcasting without learning the qualities of a good presenter. It's garbage in, garbage out. They are weighty in terms of knowledge. They are encyclopedia, walking encyclopedias.
Yeah.
But the truth is that they do not know what is required from you as a presenter, because they didn't go to learn presentation skills to qualify to broadcast on TV or even radio. They are the ones that are saying those things that the NBC, I'm not boasting, I hardly would present a program and NBC writes to me, yes, Mrs. Cole, one of the first people who represented NBC, there was a time she wrote to us about how we handle the Masob leader. You know, it's not IPOP that started this Biafra story. It was Owazurike. It was not Nnamdi Kanu that started it. It was a man called Ralph Owazurike, the leader of Masob. Movement for, how does it go now? Anyway, Masob wanted Biafra at that time. There was a time we interviewed him, and NBC had to write us a letter the next time.
So it's at this point that we'll take a break, and when we return, we'll continue with the ace broadcaster as he takes us through his journey through broadcasting. You're welcome back. We still have in the studio the iconic broadcaster and a veteran public communicator in the person of Chukwudi Okolie Obaja. You currently review newspapers on NTA, and you've been described severally as NTA's best. On that platform, what can you say about journalism in Nigeria now? Is the quality on the upbeat, or something needs to be addressed? Because you referred to them, even on this program, as the fourth estate of the realm. How solid is that estate?
I refer to us.
Yeah.
As the fourth estate of the realm.
Yes.
Yes. The question you ask is everywhere and effectively everywhere. So I'm going to try to circumscribe so that we can achieve purpose at the end of the day. NTA never described me as their best. They described me, and that was actually Elizabeth Omoyi when I granted them a news interview.
Okay.
She said one of NTA's finest.
Finest.
Mind you, I do just 15 minutes on NTA.
Yeah, but it's quality 15 minutes.
The only thing is, you know, when I got to them, they were rather like this. So I came and, you know, caused this stir, which initially some of them saw as, what is this?
Some form of rebel.
But now that has become the Bible there. They're asking me, where are you? They sent me somebody at Ibadan station sent, where is our newspaper reviewer? Tell him we are missing him. But when I came initially, because I was too restless, I was everywhere. You know, that demonstrative, not Richard Quest way. Because when people tell me you're Richard Quest, I say, no, I'm Chukwudi Okolie Obaja. The truth is that I'm a no dull moments kind of person.
Yeah,
that's the kind of person I am. True. Whether I'm reporting, whether I'm casting the news, whether I'm interviewing people, you're going to see a lot of activity when I talk. Sometimes I tend to overdo it. So I had to calm myself down a bit. Otherwise, I would have leapt from this and
come over here
and come over to your side. It's my nature. My friends will say he suffers from hyperactivity, an ailment. I don't know how true that is. So broadcasting, NTA, let me try to compare NTA and other stations. NTA is still the all-rounder broadcaster on Nigerian soil. NTA is still the all-rounder broadcaster in Nigeria. What am I talking about? Is on NTA you'll see a good program on health. Is on NTA you'll see a good program on farming. Is on NTA you see a good program on industry. All the facets of life, just like the BBC, they take them up on NTA. The others are just doing politics and governance because they want to pander to the whims and caprices of the audience. Actually, I'm one of those who accuse some people on some private stations of being too combative. Those who are no longer nice to their guests, those who are putting it to people and all that. You can achieve purpose. At the training, I showed you Obasanjo and Stephen Sarkar, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Yeah.
The BBC interviewer was hard on Obasanjo, but he was not disrespectful, or was he?
No, he wasn't. Of course, it was on a hard talk.
That is professional. The Nigerian broadcaster has to learn how to be professional. Being professional means that you get all the answers from your quarry, from the person you're interviewing, the interviewee, without assaulting them. You could tell me that some Nigerian resource persons, interviewees, ask for it. I will tell you no. It is still your job to manage them without losing your cool. So going back to NTA and the rest of us, I respect NTA people because they are the ones who give you a slice of the real life, a slice of it in any department you hope for, you are interested in. Unlike other broadcasters who give you politics and governance all the time, as if those are the only things that matter. Where is that broadcaster that tells me, who has ever decided to give me 1 day with a palm wine tapper? Imagine how that story could go. I tell Nigerian broadcasters that if you want to attract the maximum number of eyeballs to television, which you're selling to advertisers, do lifestyle. Lifestyle. My days at Omado Primary School, Benin City, the day I nearly died in the lion's den, whatever title you choose for yourself, something that tells you about human activity, that's where the stories are. That's where the real stories are. But we do not think like that. What we're interested in is the governor noted that he also said he went forward, and those things, they don't mean much. You know, I'm not saying we should not report our governor. I'm not saying we should not report our president. But by the time you waste 4 minutes on the inauguration of a water scheme by President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, first of all, it is his job to provide the water.
Yeah.
You understand? So don't over-celebrate it. We rush to seminars and workshops. One of my 2 BBC trainers, one of them was Max Easterman, the other one was Russell Pisgood. He told us at one of the meetings, he said, avoid meetings. What are you doing at meetings? What are meetings? Seminars, workshops, inductions. That's where Nigerians get their news. Those are not news centers. So in terms of what you want me to talk about, we are not giving quality to the people concerning what and how we broadcast. We're not giving them the kind of quality they need from us to be able to make up their minds about happenings in society, because your job is to string stories, string sound bites, and leave the viewer to make up his or her mind concerning the subject you raised as a reporter.
Yeah. Do you consider public communication, I mean journalism,
Yes.
to be on the crossroad currently? What I mean by this is that the sector appears to have been democratized, if not over-democratized. Anybody walking along the street with a handset can take a shot and broadcast it. You know, how is that different from what a professional journalist, a professional communicator should package?
Yes.
What is the challenge on professionalism with this preponderance of social media impact on public communication, where anybody could just...
That's an interesting one, and one I'm so happy you brought up. A social media photographer can never do the job of journalism. even when you call that person a citizen journalist. And the reason is simple. He comes to a scene of a car accident, a traffic, automobile accident, sees 4 people lying prostrate on the ground, takes pictures, goes on social media and say 5 people died today or 4 people died on Ife Road, blah, blah, blah. You have not verified whether somebody is still breathing among the people on the ground. It is journalism that will be factual because they're going to find out from a doctor.
Authenticity.
Yeah. Factuality, fairness, accuracy, objectivity, and balance.
Okay.
These are the parameters of journalism the social media photographer can never bring into their work. So don't for 1 minute compare the social media person and the journalist. They work in parallel lines. They can never come together. The only thing is that because he has a camera, he's able to show you that accident scene, maybe before media houses. But after that, the tools of journalism are not available to the person. Which doctor or nurse or matron did you interview to know whether that person you thought was dead actually died? I've had to take people to hospital from accident scenes 2 times. If I had left I can't remember his name now, one Idumine guy in Iseluku, if I had left him where he was grunting in the gutter where he was knocked into, if I had run away like every other villager around there, he would not have made it to hospital. But because of being better informed than the people who surrounded him, I was able to say that this guy is still breathing, he could get to hospital. Now, just the other day, just before I got to Orozo, that's on the way to Karshi in Abuja, I met a very bad accident situation. The 2 blessings, I eventually found out the 2 ladies, their names were, then each of them had blessing as their name. Their legs were practically shattered. One practically almost died in my car. By the time she was saying, I am fainting, I was telling her, come on, stay with me and all that. But going back to what we said, the only person who has the tools of verification, authenticating, is the journalist. So don't you for 1 moment, apart from getting the picture before every other person, there's nothing the social media person has as an edge, over the journalist. The journalist has tools he employs in doing his work, which set him apart, compared to the social media person. And we were talking about public communication space. Yes, it has opened, but it has also brought about a lot of things. When you hear people cursing people on what do you call it now, Facebook, what are the other ones?
Twitter,
WhatsApp, and the rest of them. Do you like it?
No.
That's the negative aspect to it. So the public space, the space for public communication has really become one big vortex of activity. You could almost be sucked into it. But what is the quality of the things coming out from it? Are we not abusing it? I went to shake hands with Lai Mohammed at the IPI conference at Luxury Suites in Abuja. And I told him, now that you are no longer the information commissioner, I begin to understand why you're saying that social media should be checked. I thought you were trying to rob us of freedom of information, freedom of expression. He said, I'm happy you now know why I am saying that this cannot go on and on. People are abusing that wide communication, that public platform for being yourself in terms of expression. They are abusing it. Something has to happen. I'm saying this as a journalist without reservation, that we need to do something about what we have turned social media into. So while you applaud the huge space for communication we have now, the likes of me are looking at the abuse we have subjected it to.
And the need
we
for
have
something
brought
to
a
be done.
chasm,
Yeah.
a chasm between tribes. Now you know he's Igbo, he's Yoruba, people are cursing other tribes, and you begin to ask, were they well brought up? I mean, were they trained at all? The likes of us will tell you that we went to Sunday school. It's not one pastor that makes me who I am today. It's what I was told.
Yeah, perhaps in Iseluku. You mentioned Iseluku not long ago.
Yes.
That's your community?
Yes.
Okay, but you are currently based in Abuja.
I'm in Abuja today.
Okay, so what brought you to Delta?
I came to Delta because some people expressed the wish, interest in becoming broadcasters, and I thought I could be relevant to their upbringing. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
I am a very lucky person. Yeah. I float in terms of
could that possibly be Dott Television?
Yeah. Now that you mentioned them, I didn't think that they would want us to out with the name yet, but it is actually Dott TV, and I'm praying that this TV station, the way I'm seeing them, the kind of gadgets I've seen in their studios.
Okay.
The robots they use as camera.
Yeah.
I didn't have the privilege of working with that kind of state-of-the-art equipment.
So what's your prediction?
My prediction is that if they employ the right persons and give them the right training, and welfare works well here,
okay,
the sky is the stepping stone, not the limit.
What a wonderful prediction.
Yeah, well, that's how it's going to go.
Yeah.
Ask and receive.
Have you for any moment
Yes.
lost any form of regret venturing into journalism?
Regret?
Yeah.
Well, they owing me salaries. I've worked in about 8 TV stations, and I was owed salaries in about 4 of them. I am happy that we seem to have passed that stage now. So you should not get scared. Your salaries will be paid here. I've spoken to the chairman, and I see a gentleman. I've spoken to the station manager, and I see a man who has a lot of conscience. In fact, he's the one who invited me here because he was my cameraman at a stage. You know, he's one of the best. I'm talking about a man, a man who has had to go underwater to shoot for, was it Shell or Chevron? I can't remember now.
One of your
Mobil, oil company. The guy worked in the company of sharks and shrimps and all that. You know, he's one of the best you can get.
Yeah.
I remember one day he accompanied me to a shoot. It was Ben Murray Bruce were shooting, and we wanted to take an interview from Ben Murray Bruce. I remember his statement that time. Where is your cameraman? I'm about leaving. Please, you better hurry. I get easily bored. You better come and take your comments so I can leave. You know, it was so sweet having Tony Enejedu, as my cameraman. I will never forget that iconic photographer. Okay. And moving pictures guru.
Ben Murray Bruce is he of the Silver Bears?
No? Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Ben Murray Bruce.
Yeah,
he was then
Miss
NTA Director General.
Oh great, yes.
So wanted to talk to him, and he said, "You better bring your cameraman. I get easily bored. So you better come and take it now." You know, I've met people. It's not just the Ghanifa Himis of this world. In the act of doing this job, I've met Olusegun Obasanjo when he was released from prison. I was one of the 3 AIT reporters that went to welcome him at the Owu Baptist Church Thanksgiving. I remember that time. I particularly remember it because I know I walked up to him there and lifted my hand and said, "Thank God for us." As if I knew he would eventually become president. Obasanjo would not take my hand for almost 1 minute. He couldn't understand where the boldness was coming from. But I thank God that I also have a little rebellion, in me. I just held it there. He eventually shook hands with me, got to the door there. I got to the other door there. He looked back, I looked back, our eyes met each other's eyes. And then, he didn't know I had met Chukwu Manzogu's mother.
In Banam.
Who told me, that woman told us many things about Chukwu Manzogu. At Kaduna Primary School, a teacher would not suppress any pupil, and Chukwu Manzogu would leave that teacher to go unpunished. It's a long story.
So the rebel was in
Yes,
him.
she came to see us at Pa Jikeme's house. Pa Jikeme was the London man who was Chukwumanzogo's, what do the Catholic Church people call it? Something father.
Godfather.
Godfather. He was Chukwumanzogo's godfather in the Catholic Church. He told me, Mr. Ubaja, nwa a wakpo Chukwuma, ọ dị egwu. So Chukwuma was something else. The mom said she practically became afraid of the boy when, after 3 days of his being born, she mistakenly gave him a birth and rubbed what she called turpentine on the boy.
Yeah.
It was later I got to know about turpentine,
Yeah.
which is a chemical used in woodwork.
Yeah.
He said the boy's body peeled off in so many places, she thought he was going to die. When Chukwumanzogo did not die eventually, the woman said, I knew that child was something else. I've had fun doing this job. So Obasanjo didn't know that my knowledge of Chukwumanzogo's mother had raised my admiration for him to the heavens. He didn't know why I did what I did. He didn't. He built a house for the woman, eventually buried the woman.
Yeah.
It's just like the woman told me, if not for Obasanjo, I would have died a long time ago.
Okay, as we're trying to bring this section to some form of a pause,
Yes.
In Nigeria's evolution of democracy, how would you assess the role the fourth estate has played thus far?
You know, it's unfortunate what happened to the Nigerian journalist. He has become beggarly. He has become the politician's stooge. I wouldn't put it past some people to see a situation where some members of the political desk are card-carrying members of political parties in newsrooms now. It got that bad. You could go out with a journalist to pursue a professional job, and you find your colleague pandering to things that are not going to help our profession. Don't blame him too much. The system, maybe deliberately, pauperized the journalist, and his insistence on the professional attitude, stance, waned over time. He has become a feeble practitioner on his turf. We need to re-empower journalists so that the pursuit of fact would regain vigor. That is what I think. Journalists in Nigeria need to be re-empowered to be able to say that which they should say in the mission to hold them accountable to the people. Right now, I don't see us having enough energy to do that. But I'm happy. I was one of the pioneer lecturers at the Channels TV Academy.
Oh, yeah.
John Momo gives free lunch every day to his broadcasters. Free lunch, besides the fact that he pays them well. So it's not misery all over the place. I mean, he really is trying. But how many other owners of media can be like John Momo? I pray that our chairman here, from what I have seen, would dwell on the welfare of the journalist so that he'll put out there in public people who would confidently and assertively ask for their sound bites and not pander to the whims and caprices of unscrupulous politicians.
I quite honestly join you in that prayer. And I think it's on that note. It's been a very delightful time. I have enjoyed myself in the studio with this iconic broadcaster.
There you go
whom
again.
I have followed over the years. and today we are in the same studio together.
Did you see me on MBI's political platform?
Oh yes,
Open access?
Yes, I did follow. I did
It's okay
follow.
then.
And at some point, I think I was also in your office in
Maturi.
Lagos. Yes, I was in your office in Lagos when I
Okay.
came over from Delta.
did
So
it.
it's been historic sharing some moments with you.
Thank you
and
so much.
you out there, if you did enjoy yourself the way I did, then you look forward to the next edition of Press Center on Dott Television. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Godfrey.
Iconic broadcaster.
Thank
for
you, Godfrey.
coming. Thank you
Thanks a
so
lot.
very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We impose extra burden on the masses. I feel your pain.
Only humility will lead us to unity, and unity will lead us to peace.
Go to the market and sell your products.
We impose extra burden on the masses. I feel your pain.
Only humility will lead us to unity, and unity will lead us to peace.
Go to the market and sell your products.
This is your station. This is Dott TV. Dott TV. Dott TV. Yeah. Dott TV. Yeah. Dott TV. Yeah. Dott TV.
Dott TV, the heart of the matter.
Amazon from Harrison. That is a massive world record.